welcome to another episode of The Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. First of all, I want to let you know how much I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. Also, I will request, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. And while you're at it, head on over to the second channel, Adrienne Ross Squared. Check out the welcome video that's there. See if it's your cup of tea. Hit the subscribe button if it is. Hit the like button on both channels. Call your friends. Tell them what we got going on. Always appreciate it. Now, I want to talk about identity today. Identity as it pertains to these women basketball players, women who play in the WNBA, but really their role in Unrivaled. If you've been watching the Adrienne Ross Show, you know that I watch Unrivaled and I do live streams. So we're in the chats, we're talking, we're cheering if there's something to cheer for. We're calling it out if something needs to be called out, whether it's players, whether it's officials, whether it's commentators, those who are calling the games, the whole thing. But we're dialed in. I know some people kind of drive by and say something. I like to get in the comments. It causes trouble sometimes. The drive-bys I'm talking about. There are some people who are regulars who cause trouble too, but they become a part of the family. But then you get the drive-by people who come. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about myself. People like myself who watch the game. So we are able to comment on some things. I want to comment on some things that I've noticed. There's only like 2 weeks left to the season, and I will probably do an overview at that point. But for now, I want to talk about identity because I'm on record as saying numerous times, I want this league to succeed. Is it great basketball most of the time? No. Are there good moments? Absolutely. I still want it to succeed. Once again, kudos to Nafisa Collier, kudos to Breanna Stewart for having a vision, for creating a plan, and for starting this league. And so I want them to succeed. I've encouraged other people to watch. If the ratings are low, it's not because of the Adrienne Ross Show, because we're doing our part, okay? And because I'm doing my part, I see some things. And this league has got to determine an identity. Is this a real league or is it a wRECk league? And that can be taken as wRECk as in REC or wRECk as in wRECK. Is it a real league? Because when we comment sometimes on some things, you'll hear people comment back and they'll say, well, this isn't real basketball. This is just 3-on-3. This isn't. No, but that's not how they build this league. They build it as the best players in the world, and that these players would have an opportunity to stay in the United States, have wonderful facilities, have access to coaching staffs, be able to make good money. So they got investors, they got a television deal, all that. And the players were praising it up. They were loving it. So it wasn't billed as just any old thing. It was billed as a professional league. And so if this league, I don't know what's going to happen with the ratings and all that stuff, but if this league is going to continue, they've got to establish an identity. And what I mean by that is they have to conduct themselves in a professional manner if they identify as a professional league, a real league, and not just a wRECk of a league or a wRECk league. One of the things that I'm noticing lately is how people are approaching the officials. Now, I'll be the first to say, these officials, they can be like a roller coaster, like the WNBA too. So I'm watching sometimes, and it's like, sometimes the whistle doesn't blow at all, and the whistle should blow. Sometimes the whistle seems to be blowing all the time. The inconsistency is unnerving. So I get the frustration of players. But again, if you're going to be a professional league, then you have to conduct yourself in a professional manner. And lately, players and even coaches who are running up on officials, clapping in their faces, all this stuff, it can't be if you're a professional league. It appears to be that it's okay to do this. Like I know the players want to win. You can see that part. But in terms of them respecting how a professional league is supposed to be, I feel like that's lacking. And I feel like they're not respecting the officials. And in some cases, they don't really even seem to have the same level of respect for the coaches. Now, If that's a rec league, perhaps that's okay. But if you're trying to show yourself, Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart, to have a professional league, then you're going to have to tweak some things as far as that goes. So let me give you an example. I'm going to show you this. It's nothing major here, right? We've seen technical fouls before, but you're going to see what I mean in a moment. This is Rickea Jackson. A lot of people love Rickea Jackson. I've got no problem with Rickea Jackson. I'm just bringing her up because this is the latest in terms of getting in trouble with the officials that I saw. And this was, if I remember right, Saturday night. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to tell you why I'm showing you this. Over here at Timeout Sports on X, and it just says Rickea Jackson is given a tech after arguing foul call on a block of Brittany Sykes. Hashtag Unrivaled. No sound. Just check it out. Here it is again. No big deal, right? They called her for a foul on Brittany Sykes. She didn't think she fouled. Of course, no player ever has fouled ever in their lives. I'm exaggerating, but you know how it can be. Whether that's a foul or not, that's not even the point. The point is she didn't think it was a foul. So I don't know what she said, but whatever she said, it was enough for her to get teed up. Like I said, not earth shattering. She's not the first player to ever get a technical foul, but like I said, we're seeing a lot of players being aggressive toward officials. Even I saw coaches. So the other day, I was looking for a clip of this, but I didn't see one. I think it was this. It was the same. Well, it was this past weekend. I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday. Don't really remember, but it was Teresa Weatherspoon, and she coaches Vinyl, and she didn't like a call from the official. She said something as the official was walking by. I think it was, if I remember right, it was something like, shut up or go sit down, something like that. It might have been go sit down, something as the official walked by. So then at some point, the official came back, was talking to her, and then you hear her say, I was talking to my team. She wasn't talking to her team. She was talking to the official. But there's that looseness, like I can just say whatever I want to the officials, like go sit down or shut up or whatever it was. Inappropriate for a real league. And again, if you're a rec league, then fine. But the bigger problem for this situation with Rickea, that was one technical foul. She then got another technical foul. And obviously in basketball, if you get 2 techs, you're done. So she had to go. It happened so fast. I didn't even see it. I heard the commentators talking about it. They said, we've never seen anybody leave the court so fast ever. So she got the second tee and was boom, just out of there. So I guess stormed out or whatever. Okay. Not the first person to ever get kicked out of a game. The problem with Unrivaled is that if you're watching, you know, they hardly have players because everybody, so many, I should say, are getting hurt. People were getting hurt before they ever played one game. And there's constantly people who are out because they are injured. And we're like, people who are watching are going, what is going on? I mean, people are strewn all across the floor. It's just all kinds of wild stuff. And a lot of people are out. And so first of all, you got to figure out why are there so many injuries. I mean, you're going to have injuries in sports, but this is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? If you've been watching. So you've got players who are brought in because they didn't think ahead about injuries. You got players who are brought in to play on the team, and then they got to move to another team to play because this person got injured on that team. So in this situation with Rickea, her getting a second technical foul was a big thing because she put her team at a disadvantage because they already were saddled with injuries. So they already were short in number. And so when that happened and she had to storm away and leave, I mean, I didn't watch her storm away, but she got out of there really fast. In that situation, now your team, who's already sucking air, if you watch this, you know, it's a fast-paced game. You're trying to breathe. They're trying to breathe, I should say. And so now, because you couldn't keep your mouth closed, now you get a second technical because you're not approaching this as you would approach a real basketball game. In a real basketball game, players know they walk away. You don't test the official. You had to have said something for him to kick you out again. Something again that you obviously didn't learn from the first time. So now you're out. This is not about Rakia. It could be anyone. So then now you're gone, and now your team trying to compete in this league. There are playoffs coming up. There are people who are trying to get a playoff spot, but you put your team at a disadvantage because you're not treating it professionally, but you want us to look at it in a professional manner. So she's got to go. Okay, so she goes. Now, Angel Reese at one time, you may recall, had been ejected from a game as well. She didn't come back onto the court that I saw, but she was back into the gym area. And I was like, oh, I guess they can come back in the gym area. Well, Rakia, when her team managed to win without her, found a way, because, again, very short numbered, and they're not a great team anyway, the Mist. After they win, she comes flying back on the court with her teammates who are just like, we got to win, has her phone out. Phone is out, and she's doing the selfie thing with her team. And I'm like, first of all, if I'm your teammate, I'm going, you go sit down, because you couldn't close it enough so that you could be here to help us win. Please. Right? She's coming out, like, I guess, look at me, see me. I'm back. Oh, you kicked me out, but I'm back and we won. She's doing that whole thing. Again, is this a real league? Is this a wRECk league? I don't think once you get ejected from the game, you should be coming back out onto the floor doing the selfie thing. What you should be feeling is, I let my team down. We managed to get the win in spite of it, barely, but I let my team down. But obviously, that expectation has not been articulated. And I think this is where Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart is the co-founder, and she's on the team with Rakia, right? She's on the team with her. Somebody's going to have a conversation with these ladies. I'm just giving you a couple examples, but the coaches as well as the players needs to be a conversation to say, what kind of image do you want to put forth? They've got to decide what kind of image they want to put forth. And then they've got to demand that from people who are going to be a part of this league. If it's real, that should be done. If it's a wRECk league, wRECk with an R, wRECk with a W, then that's a whole different story. But coming back out on the court and doing all this and that after you were ejected from the game should not be allowed in a professional league, especially when you let your team down. Part of the problem might be that you've got the founders of the league in Napheesa and Breanna Stewart playing in the league. I know they want to play. I know they didn't create this league just so other people could play, but it could be a problem because Breanna Stewart, you saw Breanna Stewart there when Rakia was like complaining, thinking she didn't foul. Maybe she didn't. Whatever you think on that, not the point. Breanna Stewart was just kind of looking. If you're leadership, even though everybody is equity, well, the original people have equity league, I get it. But at the same time, you're the one who wants this league to succeed. You're the one who said this is a professional league. You're the one who has to have a standard of some sort. And so can you articulate that standard as a leader when you're also a peer and a teammate in this league? Can you do that? I don't know. What do you guys think? Can you be both? Can Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart have a certain standard for this league that they poured themselves into and play at the same time? Can I lead and guide you and at the same time be your high-fiving teammate? Now, in addition to those things, in addition to the attitude of players toward officials and the quality of officials or lack thereof, the injuries all over the place, you've got one of the biggest names in the WNBA and therefore in Unrivaled in Sabrina Ionescu. And I get ready for the game on Monday night and no Sabrina. Sabrina Ionescu is not just not playing in that game, we're used to that because so many injuries, lots of people are not playing on any given night. But she's done at all. And I'm like, what? What do you mean she's done? People in the comments in the chat were like, yeah, she had, quote, prior commitments. And I'm thinking, did we know about the prior commitments, or is this something that just showed up? Let me just take you to an article by Athlon Sports. Article entitled Unrivaled Facing Criticism After Sabrina Ionescu Decision. So is it a decision or was it a prior commitment? Kind of interesting. I'll just go through some of this stuff. It says, as the inaugural season of the Unrivaled 3-on-3 Women's Basketball League rolls toward the playoffs, fans learned on Monday, so it wasn't just me, we just learned on Monday that they will not be able to see one of the league's biggest stars play again this season. And so journalists reported that Unrivaled sent out a release before Monday night's game. That was Rose BC versus Laces BC and Phantom BC versus Lunar Owls BC, announcing that Phantom star Sabrina Ionescu will not play any more games on Unrivaled due to, quote, prior commitments. And the league did not announce the move on social media or its website. So it goes on to talk about what she did in the winning a championship with the New York Liberty in 2024 season. But it also mentions her basketball club, which, I mean, they're horrible, by the way. And it says Ionescu's club has 3 regular season games left, but at 3-8 with a negative 116 point differential and missing its best player, chances of making the 14 playoff are slim. And they were missing their best player before because she had gone over to Paris, but apparently that was a prior commitment as well that they knew about. So here it is again, missing the best player here. Goes on to say fans responded to the news with pointed criticism and also argued that allowing the most recognizable star to skip the game is a bad look. They call it a bad look. It is a bad look. And I'm saying, is it professional? Is this real? Or is it wRECk? Because it's not looking like a real league. And this is what people are saying. So this is what was out. This is what came out, the updates. Sabrina Ionescu will not participate in any remaining games due to prior commitments. Naz Hillman has been signed to a relief player contract. Natisha Heidemann will be reassigned to Phantom BC ahead of tonight's matchup against the Lunar Owls. Now, remember, she was in another team because of some injuries. Now she's in this team. So it's just down here, it says joke of a league. And again, that's the impression that it gets. I don't want it to be considered a joke of a league. I don't want it to be considered a wRECk, but it's you see what people are saying. And then a fan wrote all that money to get Sabrina, and she's not even doing a full season. And remember, the money, lots of money, more money than they're used to getting. Right? Unrivaled's average salary per player was over $200,000, the most ever for a women's sports league. Ionescu, Unrivaled's final signing, reportedly made more than her average $205,000 plus WNBA salary with the Liberty, though her Unrivaled compensation was undisclosed. And some people are saying it was a whole lot of money. I don't know what it was. And people last night were saying that she was added late because of Kelsey Plum pulling out. So she had some prior commitments. I don't know what the deal is. Did she have prior commitments, or she's like, we're not gonna win, we're not gonna do anything, the team is playing horribly, or at least coming out horribly at the end of games, if I want to be gentle with how I say it. But it's a bad look. And again, you're telling people to take you seriously. You're telling people that you can invest in this league, get the television deal, get other people to put money up for it. You got celebrities showing up at games here and there. Celebrities, I mean, I guess that's relative, right? In any case, you've got this whole billing that this is the thing, and I want it to work. And you got some growing pains, but part of your growing pains should not be people not finishing what they started. It just is. It's a wRECk in so many ways, or at least it appears to be so. Take that as R or W wRECk, however you want it to be. But once again, they're going to have to decide what kind of identity, because if you want us to take you seriously, then you have got to take the league seriously yourself. That is a leadership situation that they're going to have to figure out if they're going to be a real league, if they are a real league. And we're on the outside looking in. We know what you told us about the league. Are you going to be serious or not? Should I take it seriously or not? The players, the coaches, the commentators, And that's a whole different story I'll probably get to. Those are my thoughts about Unrivaled. Once again, I want it to succeed. I just kind of like to know what the identity is. Do we have a real league? Do we have a rec league? And is it a rec?